Tonight's headlines: Palace says Philippines can work with any American president. Senators give insights on U.S. poll impact. Malacanang hopes for peaceful elections. Coronavirus cases in the country now at 389,725. Duterte supports gender equality. Typhoon Siony slightly intensifies. PSEi rallies 2.80%. Philippine economy to recover in 2022. Good evening. Today is Thursday, November 5, 2020. I am Elmer Navarro Manuel and this is Tribune News on Q. Here are the stories for this evening. The palace revealed on Thursday that it would wait for the result of the U.S. presidential elections, even as it assured the Philippines' readiness to work with any American leader. As of the moment, it is not immediately clear who between incumbent President Donald Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden would win the White House, as counting is still underway in crucial battleground states. Trump's camp had also mounted legal challenges as the Republican president trailed behind Biden in the battle for the 270 Electoral College votes. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said that there will be no problem with President Rodrigo Duterte, whoever wins in the U.S. elections, and stressed that the Philippines has a long history of very close friendship with the United States. Roque earlier said President Rodrigo Duterte, who considered Trump a friend, would be able to establish equally warm personal relations with Biden should the Democratic candidate win the election. The U.S. is one of the Philippines' major trading partners and a mutual defense treaty ally. Senators of the country shared their insights on the ongoing U.S. presidential race between Republican Donald Trump and his Democrat challenger Joe Biden. In a statement, Senate President Vicente Soto III disclosed that he is hoping the next U.S. president would not share the same principles of former U.S. President Barack Obama, who allegedly neglected the Philippines in its struggle to uphold claims in the West Philippine Sea. He added that Obama has seemingly abandoned the Philippines on the West Philippine Sea issue. Obama was from the Democratic Party and Biden was the vice president during his term. Senate Committee on Foreign Relations Chairperson Aquilino Coco Pimentel meanwhile said nothing much will change in the Philippine-U.S. relations should Biden win. On the other hand, Senate Committee on Economic Affairs Chairperson Amy Marcos believes the Philippines would have stronger ties with the U.S. whoever wins the White House race. No major changes are expected in bilateral relations between the Philippines and the United States, no matter what the U.S. election results would be, according to Malacanang. Malacanang said Thursday that it is hoping that future elections in the country will not be marred by violence as the world awaits who between incumbent President Donald Trump and his Democratic challenger Joe Biden would win the White House. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said that the country should emulate the United States, where there was no reported election-related violence. It is not uncommon for election-related violence to transpire before, during, or after the polls in the Philippines, despite the imposition of a month-long gun ban, and there were also allegations of fraud. The next general elections in the country will be held in May 2022. Roque on Wednesday expressed optimism that there will be no major changes in the country's relations with the United States whoever wins the American presidential elections. U.S. Embassy in Manila charged d'affaires John Law also said he expects the alliance to remain productive regardless of the result of the presidential contest between Trump and Biden. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
This is a very important story. The important story.
Pictures and stories.
Today, we feel the weight of history on our shoulders. The way we have been moving leads nowhere. We need to change course.
Since the United Nations was founded, the human race has never had to face a set of challenges like we do right now. But together, we can overcome them.
The Department of Health reported 1,594 confirmed coronavirus disease cases on Thursday to bring the total number of infections in the country to 389,725. Manila tallied the highest number of newly reported cases at 253, followed by Cavite with 126, Davao City with 78, Rizal with 78, and Quezon City with 73. The number of recoveries, on the other hand, rose to 349,543 after 468 more patients recovered from the respiratory illness, and the death toll is now at 7,409 following 42 new fatalities recorded. The remaining 32,773 are active cases undergoing treatment or quarantine, 83% of which are mild, 10.1% are symptomatic, 2.5% are severe, and 4.4% are in critical condition. Vaccine Czar Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. earlier said vaccination against COVID-19 could begin in May 2021 if everything will go well. He added that the government is looking to initially procure at least 24 million vaccines. In other news, President Rodrigo Duterte supports gender equality even as he leaves the fate of the Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity or Expression Equality Bill to Congress, according to Malacanang. The SOGI bill includes provisions such as prohibition on discrimination against lesbians, gays, bisexual, transgender, and queer people in the workplace and educational institutions. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque stressed that Duterte believes that everyone is equal whatever the gender is, but he will leave it to Congress to what version of the SOGI bill it will pass. Roque was reacting to the statement of a representative of the Coalition of Concerned Families of the Philippines during the House Committee hearing on Wednesday that the bill sought to transform the LGBTQ community into a super special elite class. But Bataan Representative Geraldine Roman, the first transgender person to be elected to Congress, said the right to study and right to work being pushed for the LGBTQ community are basic rights. Aside from gender equality, Duterte had also voiced support for same-sex civil unions. The State Weather Bureau Pagasa on Thursday announced that Tropical Cyclone Wind Signal Number 2 remained hoisted over Batanes and Babuyan Islands as Severe Tropical Storm Siony slightly intensified while moving closer to the direction of Luzon Strait. In its 5 p.m. severe weather bulletin, Pagasa said the center of Siony was located 340 kilometers east of Basco, Batanes at 4 p.m., with maximum sustained winds of 100 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 125 kilometers per hour. It is moving westward at 20 kilometers per hour. The weather agency warned affected residents of possible flash floods or landslides due to moderate to heavy rains, and there is also a possible light to moderate damage to structure and vegetation. Pagasa added that Siony will continue to move westward or west-northwestward in the next 24 hours. It is likely to make landfall or closely approach the vicinity of Batanes or Babuyan Islands on Friday morning. Siony is expected to exit the Philippine area of responsibility on Friday afternoon or evening. Pag-asa added Siony is forecasted to reach typhoon category with a peak intensity of 120 kilometers per hour by Friday morning as it passes near or over the Batanes-Babuyan Island areas. Sunrise is at 5:53 a.m. and sunset will be at 5:25 p.m. We'll pause for a short break. Stay with us.
Good morning, sir. How may I help you?
Bakit kailangan ko pang pumunta sa bangko?
Oo nga naman, sir. Ba't kailangan pang pumunta sa bangko?
Why not get a UB app so you can do all these without going to the bank? Bank the way you live. Union Bank.
Click, click, that's it. Never thought self-service can be this slick. Modify plans in a snap, walang hirap, it's a wrap. Just tap the app. Now you can check, view, subscribe, renew. Help and support for you. Out with the ring apps are the in thing. You know what to do. Globe at home and Globe One, all in the Globe app na yan. Self-service and easy to use. Mas okay tayo dyan. Globe at home and Globe One, all in the Globe app na yan. Instant response, no hold time pa, wala nang hintayan. Download Globe at Home and Globe One app, all in the Globe app na yan. Download the Globe One and Globe at Home apps from Google Play Store and Apple App Store now. Download Globe at Home and Globe One app, all in the Globe app na yan.
In business, share prices on the Philippine Stock Exchange continued their winning streak for fourth straight sessions on Thursday as they tracked the overnight rally on Wall Street amid the wait-and-see mode on the outcome of the U.S. presidential elections. The local stock barometer PSEi gained 180.72 points or 2.80% to 6,644.77 at the closing bell. The broader all shares increased by 70.70 points or 1.84% to 3,919.31. Philstock's financial research associate Claire Alviar said that the PSEi surged following the extended rally of the U.S. markets overnight, while investors accumulate shares amid recovery hopes. On Wall Street, S&P 500 rose 2%, Dow Jones by 1%, and Nasdaq 2.5% overnight as a too-close-to-call U.S. presidential elections left traders betting on a divided Senate that would keep stimulus flowing but hold tax rises and regulation in check. Alviar added that apart from the U.S. election, local investors also bet on the country's economic recovery along with the anticipated earnings growth of the companies in the coming year. More than 5.004 billion shares valued at 10.178 billion pesos changed hands. Advancers led decliners 128 to 73 and 53 issues were unchanged. And Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Governor Benjamin Diokno disclosed that the Philippine economic growth is poised to return to pre-pandemic levels in 2022 when a full recovery is likely to be seen. Diokno said he is optimistic that the economic performance is expected to improve starting in the third quarter and bounce back by 2021 before returning to pre-pandemic levels the following year. To recall, the economy contracted by 16.5% in the second quarter of the year, mostly due to the COVID-19 pandemic, bringing the Philippines into a technical recession. Third quarter figures are scheduled to be released next week. Prior to the pandemic, the Philippines reported a 5.9% economic growth in 2019, the slowest pace in 8 years following the failure of Congress to pass a national budget on time. For this year, economic managers are expecting the economy to contract by as much as 5.5%, taking in the effects of the community quarantine set in place since March to curb the spread of COVID-19. That wraps up the stories tonight. Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph, and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. The Daily Tribune is one with the nation in facing the COVID-19 crisis, and in line with this, the Daily Tribune Digital Edition and Press Reader is now available for free online. You can also download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store or Google Play to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune is also inviting everyone to join its community Viber Katribu to get updates on the freshest and hottest news and entertainment stories of the day. Thursday emoticons are also available on our community Viber. Just visit the sticker store on Viber and search for Katribu. And before we go, we would like to thank the SM Store for my shirt and jacket this evening. Again, this is Elmer Navarro Manuel and you're watching Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good night, and God bless us all.
Ang Philippine Offshore Gaming Operators o POGO ay isang legitimate business entity na nagbibigay serbisyo sa offshore gaming para lamang sa mga manlalarong nasa abroad sa pamamagitan ng internet. Ang mga serbisyong handog nito ay katulad ng casino games at sports betting na pwedeng laruin kahit wala sa casino. Sa Pilipinas, walang POGO operators. Tanging POGO service providers lamang dahil nagaganap ang mga laro sa labas ng bansa.
Araneta City, home to the country's first indoor shopping mall, the world's original Thrilla, and the first ever Bini Bini pageant. Now a place for your first win, your first catch, your first home, your first big break, your first date, and even your first love. Araneta City, the city of firsts.
Bilang bagong mag-asawa, sabay kaming natututo sa buhay.
Sabay rin namin inaaral ng mga bayarin sa bahay.
Kahit kami, nagtaka sa biglang laki ng electricity bill namin. Huwag pong mangambang maputulan. Sinisigurado ng Meralco na walang disconnection hanggang September.
Estimated bills lang ang natanggap natin ng March, April, at para sa ilan, May. Dahil sa lockdown, isang tabi to para hindi na maguluhan.
Ang May o June ay actual meter reading na. Kung May nagka-actual reading, ibabawas dito ang huling reading bago mag-ECQ. Yan lang po ang ating babayaran hanggang 3 buwang konsumo.
Kung estimated reading sa May at June nagka-actual reading, ibabawas din dito ang huling reading bago mag-ECQ. Yan lang po ang ating babayaran. Hanggang 4 na buwang konsumo, walang labis. Tandaan, kung ano lang na konsumo,
yun lang ang babayaran.
ako po si Mateo G.
At ako naman po si Sarah G.
G?
G!